Hello students, welcome to LBS 303 week 7. We're going to be going over all of the assignments you have to do this week and some of the readings and things you need to be aware of. So this should help you get through your requirements. So this week we're shifting gears. We're talking now about educational theories. The first 4 weeks we talked about praxis. We only looked at practical resources that help teachers on a daily basis, how to teach, how to meet those TPEs. And then we shifted gears a little bit for weeks 5 and 6, and we did some research. We found some research articles. You should have found at least 5 research articles on your topic, and your topic should have been related to your TPE. And now you're going to select an educational theory that you believe relates to that research and that topic. So this is going to help you, I hope. And this presentation is available on Blackboard in the week 7 folder. So first off, this is the route you're taking to get to your research paper. You started up here with the TPE, the teaching performance expectation, and there were 6 of them. You selected one of those 6. From that TPE, you picked out a topic, something in there. There was lots of elements described. You picked something that was interesting to you. So what are some practices that relate to your TPE? You thought about that and you came up with a topic. Each of you met with me to brainstorm that topic, and we came up with your research question. And then you had some search terms, and then you went off to do some research. And it looks like most of you were successful with that. If you still need some help finding articles, please let me know. Please reach out to me or our librarian. You can get some help there as well. So you found some original research that investigates those concepts that were related to your topic. And you should by now, after reading through those in weeks 5 and 6, you should by now know what research has to say about your topic, at least some, right? There's always going to be more research out there, and there's always going to be differing opinions, but hopefully you were able to see some commonality between them, or they're all pointing in a certain direction that will help you form your argument. Now, as all good arguments go, you should have a theory to ground your argument in. And so most educational research can be conducted under a theoretical perspective that relies upon the foundations in sociology or psychology. And in education, we basically, we kind of pull from all other fields, right? We run our schools based on how we think kids learn and how the mind works. Hence, we pull from psychology. We also look at systems and how people interact and what the best environment would be for schooling, and that is informed from sociology. We use plenty of other fields as well, like health and science. We use all economics. We use all kinds of other fields to inform our teaching and our school system. But in this paper, it's more likely that since we're talking about teaching, the specific act of teaching and learning, you should be probably pulling from something related to psychology or sociology. And since you have your research question, it might be obvious to you which one your research question kind of relates to. But if not, hopefully this video will help you get there, okay? So there are basically kind of 3 areas we're pulling from. One, like I mentioned, is psychology. Psychologists are very much concerned with how the mind works, how people learn and retain new knowledge, how people interact individually with one another. That's basically psychology, and those are the kinds of questions psychology explores. So if your research question seems to be really concerned with learning new knowledge, retaining that knowledge, or personal relationships with other people, self-image, self-esteem, those kinds of things relate to psychology. If your question seems to be more related to how groups of people interact, or how the school system itself works, or maybe even curriculum on a larger scale, like what kinds of things do we teach and why? Those bigger questions, how different racial groups are impacted by schooling, how people with disabilities are treated in the school system. Those larger issues of how groups interact in a system probably lead you to sociology. Now you'll notice here in the middle, there are teaching and learning theories as well that are specific to education. And there are many theorists that are educators who pull from both of these to make sort of their own specifically educational theory. And so some of them, although they might be borrowing from these, there's definitely a lot of overlap, and they become their own sort of educational theory in and of itself. Now, the field of education, as we pull from all these others, we are actually older than them, right? So it's kind of interesting how that happens, and our theories stem from them, but we also, our field was around way before theirs, okay? So teaching and learning has been analyzed for ages, and the best ways to do it has been analyzed for ages. Your goal is to find a theory, one concept that you think helps you explore your question, okay? So if you're still not sure, here are some things to think about. Psychology and human development sort of theories answer questions related to how people develop and grow throughout their life, how people learn new knowledge, how people become motivated, how people form and maintain relationships. Those are all kind of psychology or human development related theories. And so that would be the direction you want to go. If your question seems to be more related to these things, how people interact with the world around them, how people can be critical of power, how people can challenge social systems, ethical or moral actions, those sorts of things would be more sociocultural theories stemming from sociology. So any teaching practice can be analyzed from psychological or developmental perspective, or a sociological and cultural perspective, anything. So if I want to look at assessments, for example, I could look at, is this the best way to actually measure learning? Or I could even look at what is the power system behind these assessments, and what does it do to enact power over other people and oppress people? So I could take my topic and I could go either way. It's really up to you. There's no right or wrong answer here. Your question may seem to lean towards one or the other, which means that was already your interest, okay? Now I have 2 book chapters you can start with. So theories can be overwhelming sometimes. There's so many and they're so broad and abstract that sometimes it's hard to figure out where to start. So these are 2 excellent books that give a very brief introduction to each of these fields and give you a lot of people to look at, and you can pick one. Don't feel like you have to use all these folks and cite them all. You can certainly do more than one, but I would suggest at least picking the area you're more interested in, and then you can explore the first chapter, the introduction in each of these books that will help you get started, and then go a little further beyond that. So let's say, for example, if I click this one, it should take me to a folder with a file, I mean, that has the introduction to educational psychology. And so this will be an introduction that tells me all about these theorists: Piaget, Vygotsky, Erskine, Kohlberg, Pavlov, Skinner, Bandura, and so on. There's many here, and a lot of ideas in here that you can start thinking about which sounds more like your topic, which sounds like it relates to your topic. And then once you know that, you can go further. You can either go on and you can explore this particular book even further if you wanted to, or you can go do your own research on the library website, okay? This one will take you to an introduction in this textbook. And this is basically just kind of giving you an overview of a lot of critical pedagogy, which is just one area of sociocultural theories, but one of the more prevalent ones that we study here in our program. So you can explore these, and maybe you'll see some names in there that sound familiar, and you'll think, yeah, that idea sounds a lot like my topic, and that's what I want to research. And so you'll have a name of a person that you want to go search, okay? The next thing I suggest you do is, as you start to read through those, start picking out those people's names. Do some further research. You can also visit our folder on the week 7 folder that talks about theoretical text. You can go in there and you can find an appropriate text there, or you can do some further research on the library website like I mentioned. Both are acceptable. You might find a book, you might find an article, you might even find a documentary about a person's theory. Any source that helps you understand that theory is fine. So this slide right here shows you some people who are very known for critical pedagogy. If you're leaning towards that sociology, sociocultural kind of set of theories, And this side talks about mostly the psychology and human development sort of theories, that ed psych kind of field. And these are famous people in that area. But you'll see that there are many who actually end up sort of in the middle, and they're more known for teaching and learning theories. So people like Vygotsky, Dewey, and Montessori, while they may have been psychologists or doctors or things like that, they actually focus so much on teaching and learning that that's what they're known for. So you can explore any of these folks as well as many others, but these are some highly recommended ones that you begin with, okay? I'm gonna switch back over here to our Blackboard page so you can see what's going on here. First, I wanna look at our calendar so you can see what's going on this week. And you'll see that now we're in a new focus. We were on research, right? We were trying to explore how does research support these practices related to my topic and finding scholarly articles related to that. Now we're shifting gears and we're talking about theory. Hence we have a new color. Everything's color coded in our class. Most of you are going to be elementary school teachers, so I know you'll love that. Every time I go in an elementary school classroom, everything's color coded and organized. So I'm trying to be more like you folks. The essential question here: which social, psychological, or educational theories provide a foundation for the use of research-based practice you selected? A really good approach might be to pull up your articles that you read in the last 2 weeks and look at the references page, and then go back to that presentation that I showed you, which is here in week 7. Okay, you'll see it there. Go back to that presentation and you can download it right here, actually right here. And when you do, maybe you will see some names in those reference pages. So maybe the research articles that you found were all referencing Vygotsky, or maybe they were all referencing, you know, Giroux, or maybe they were all referencing Freire. And whoever you see more than once, a few times, maybe that's your person. It doesn't have to be, right? Like I said before, you can go any route with this, but that might be a good start for you. If you feel like your experts are always citing the same person and the same theory, then that's a very clear path toward a theory you could cite and use. So here's what you're going to do this week. Video lecture. You're doing it now. You're watching it now. This is an overview, but there are 2 more video lectures here. You'll see one on learning theories. This is the more psychology route. And this is one on critical pedagogy, the more sociology route. Whichever is interesting to you. You could watch them both. I suggest you do, just to get a familiarity with them. But that will hopefully help you think about it and provide a context. Then you're going to review the materials in the theoretical texts and materials folder. I'm going to show you that. So if you scroll down here, there is a link to a folder. When you come in here, you're going to see more folders, because I've over-organized this. These are the chapters I showed you before, so they're in here again, those introductory chapters. And then if I know I'm going to do a sociocultural theory, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to explore some of these. That book that you read the first chapter to, here's a lot more chapters of different people. You can also look at some of these other articles. These are just a few. This is not by any means everything. These are just things that I suggest, okay? You can definitely keep going and find your own. Here is some on psychological and child development sort of theories. So these are a lot of articles and book chapters that might help you. Some of them are really focused on brain-based learning and the science of learning, which might interest you. Some are more developmental, about how children grow and develop in their childhood. All those are ed psych or child development theories. You could even go in here. These are the education specific and teaching theories. And these are all, again, they reference the other 2 fields, but they're very specific and focused to teaching. So you'll see things in here that might help you out. This first one is sort of an overview. So I would suggest this if you're still a little bit lost and not really sure where you want to go. But some of these others might be beneficial to you, okay? I'm also going to post a few more things throughout the week. So if you're feeling like you're kind of lost still and you're not sure, I'm going to post many more. I want you to see these down here, these 2 documents. When you open this up, it's going to take you to a whole bunch of links to different chapters and videos. Many of these videos are very helpful if you're feeling a little bit lost and not sure about which theory you still like. Maybe a video will help you a little bit more, right? So some of these child development theory videos will be good for you. There's some more on EdPsych here. Okay, so those are all helpful. If you're more of a visual auditory learner, you can reference these as well. These are good sources from our library. And right here, this document is a large list of texts and resources that you can pull from, and they're organized into what they are. So it's a little bit different, but here we have a bunch of articles. So you'll have to read the title and see what they're about, and kind of get a feel for it before you decide it's useful to you. But these are some recommended articles you can use. These are some book chapters you can pull from. Also very good theoretical text you can use. And then here's more films and media. So if you really found your EdPsych person, let's say, for example, maybe you want to go watch a video about that person and learn more about them and their theory. So these are all useful things for you to explore, and this will take some time. So please spend some time looking through these. Don't just settle on your first one. Spend some time getting comfortable with the area you're interested in. Spend some time watching videos, reading things, getting your theory really nailed down so you understand it. The next thing it says here to do is to select 1 to 2 sources that define and describe your theory. That's what I just showed you how to do. You can explore that folder and all those different sources there. Or you can also go to our library website, which you know how to do now. After a couple weeks ago, you did a whole library module. So you can use those skills and go do some further research. Highly recommend that you do. And then you're going to join a group. Now, you will notice when you come here, there is not a group set up yet. And that's because what I want you to do first is complete all of these things. I know if there's groups available, people tend to just jump and join a group. And I don't know if it's just because they're afraid they're not going to get a good one, or they want to be with somebody they've worked with before. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I don't want you to jump into a group until you've spent the time exploring all these resources, okay? So I want you to really read through these things and think about it. And then once you feel like you found your person and your theory, let's say you think, you know what, Maria Montessori, that's my gal. I'm gonna use her. Okay, that's my person. Then you come in here and it's just a simple 10 points. All you do is either write submission, or you can use a comment box if you want, but write submission is pretty easy. And then just give me a sentence or two. Which theory and which person are you going to use, right? And so you could put it here. So for example, if I said, I'm going to use Funds of Knowledge by Moll et al., because there's a lot of them. There you go. I got my theory and my person. That's all you got to do. Doesn't even need to be a full sentence, to be honest. And you're going to submit that to me this week. Now, by the end of the week, I'm going to take a look at what I've got from all of you, and I'm going to create groups. So then you'll be able to go, probably by the weekend, you'll be able to go here in the groups. And right now you're just going to see your TPE groups, but you're going to see new ones. You're going to see theory groups, and you'll join. And I will try to make them as closely related to whatever you submitted as possible. But I want to be sure that I'm not creating a group that no one's going to join, right? So if we have tons of people really interested in one theory, then I'll make 2 of those groups. If we have a big wide range, then I might group you with people who have similar theories. So that's why those groups don't exist yet. They will be there soon, okay? And I will send out an announcement reminding you to go in and join your group. And that will help you kind of find people to work with for that next upcoming project next week. So this week, all you really need to do is to watch these videos, do some reading, do some exploring, get familiar with all the texts and materials, and find 1 or 2 that you think helps you with your topic based on your question, okay? Once you do that, you're gonna post a summary of your resources and what you found, what you decided. So let's say you found a book chapter or you watched a video. You'll go into that group you joined, and there will be a place for you to post a thread in your discussion group and say, here's what I'm using. And then next week, you're going to meet with those folks, and you're going to come up with a little presentation together. I will provide many more resources for that. So right now, don't get too far ahead of yourself. Just explore these things and get familiar. There will be a journal added. I noticed, looks like Yeah, there needs to be a journal added. I apologize, it's not in there yet, but I will put it in there. So you'll do a journal entry as usual. That's real simple. You're just gonna reflect on the theories that you've read and which one you picked. And that should be it for this week. So it's a lot to take in, but please take your time and go through each step here in the directions. And there will be a group added later for you to join. And if you have any questions or need any help, please let me know and we can arrange a Zoom meeting and I can go over it with you and help you out. All right. Have a great week and please be in touch if you need any help.